So, welcome to this little tutorial on doing a coaster like this, a 4-inch diameter coaster with a basket weave stamp in a circular design. We're going to start with a coaster blank, and we're going to case it, as we call it, get it wet. Get some moisture into the leather. We want it wet about halfway through. I already had it cased a little bit before, so I don't need too much more. We want the surface to start to go back to its natural color. That's the ideal condition on which we want to stamp. When the surface is starting to get a little bit firm again, if it's too mushy, too wet, you don't get nice, crisp, clean impressions. Then we're going to use a wing divider and make a line around the outside, and it's going to be 1 centimeter or about 3/8 of an inch from the outside. So we put the one leg of the wing divider, or if you're using a math compass, down onto our work platform, and the other we lay it on top of the leather coaster with the tips, the two tips, in a line pointing towards the center of the coaster, and have the wing divider at about a 45-degree angle, and then we rotate the coaster on that side away from ourselves. And so we're making a line now into the leather. This is going to be our guide for where to put the stamps. So a line around the outside, 1 centimeter from the edge. Then we're going to take our basket weave stamp, hold it between your thumb and pointer finger with your middle finger and your ring finger. The ring finger should be down just at the bottom of the stamp so it touches the leather when you're on the leather. It gives you stability, and your little finger is on the leather as well. The way we start this tool to do a circular basket weave design is we put the back leg. It's got 4 legs on the bottom, 4 like corner tips, we call them legs. You put the back, if this is the back side here, the back right leg on the line, and diagonally across the front left leg also on the line. So you end up with an impression like this: the front left leg, the tip of it right on the line, and the back right leg, the tip of it right on the line. Now normally with a basket weave, if it was going in a straight line, we would overlap the legs. We don't do that. We put the back right leg right onto the line, just touching the tip of the previous front left leg. And then again, the front left leg of this impression right onto the line. As you see, I rock my tool sideways a little bit. I get a deeper impression that way. So this is how the first 2 impressions should look. And then again, back right leg, front left leg on the line, back right, front left, and we go all the way around like that. When we get close, have maybe 8 or 9 impressions left. Instead of keep going, we kind of see if it's gonna work out spacing wise. So I'm just gonna, with the pressure of my hand, make a little point where that front left leg is gonna be afterwards, and then my back right leg into that point, and I'm going to see where I'm going to end up. I'm going to end up a little bit short. So I've got about maybe 4 millimeters. So on those 4 stamps that are missing yet, I need to have 1 millimeter stretched on each one. So what I do is I don't put it right up to the toe of the last one, up to that tip of that leg. I go a millimeter or so out from it. To show you that on here, where do I have my little, there. Right here you'll see there's a little bit of a space between that rear right leg and the front left leg of the previous stamp. Just a tiny bit, a millimeter is plenty, and I'll do the same thing on the next one. If you had to, I'm stretching it, if you had to squeeze it, you would overlap a little bit. Oh, I'm still missing some. Okay, that's all right. We'll space it. I'm a little bit too far apart, but that's okay. The outside, it's okay if the outside circle is a little bit stretched, because the inside one is much tighter. It has to overlap a lot more. So now what we're going to do is, let me just think about this for a minute. Okay, we're going to be putting just a mark. So overlap the front right leg with the front right leg with the rear left leg of one of the impressions on the outside, and make a mark on the inside of that. So just like that. Parallel to the rear left leg, we want a mark of the width of that stamp on the inside. So just put it like this, and then with the pressure of your hand, make a mark there. Now, the next row, we are going to overlap. On the outside we didn't, because the circle's bigger. On the inside we're going to overlap both legs. So this is going to be our next stamp right here. We're going to overlap these two. So this is the stamp we just did. Now we have the next two. We're going to go around counterclockwise. We're going to have the next two that we can overlap. And we're just going to keep going around the circle like that. They won't perfectly overlap because we are going around in a circle, and they're actually designed for a straight line. But it'll look really good afterwards. So that will get us all the way around a second time, and we now have this circular design using this X510 basket weave stamp. Now we're going to make another line with our wing divider, and this time it's going to be just right at the tip of the outside leg of those basket weave stamps on the outside. So it's going to be fairly close to the edge. And because those are all right on the same line, oops, we shouldn't have them sticking out anywhere. So you should have a line that pretty much connects all of those outside legs that point the furthest out towards the edge. Then we're going to use our camouflage tool, which has two heels, the 2 points, and these are the deepest part of the tool. When you look at from the side, they go further into the leather. Then the starburst at the other side, it kind of fades out. It covers up part of the design that we just made. That's one reason, or that's the reason it's called a camouflage tool. It kind of camouflages the design around the edges. And then we're going to line up the very middle of that half circle between the two heels, right in here. That's going to sit right on the line that we just made around the outside of the coaster, with the two heels pointing towards the outside and the sunburst pointing towards the inside, the middle of the coaster. I'll just show you one. So the two heels towards the outside of the coaster, and right here, the center part of that half circle between the heels is right on the line, and the starburst goes towards the inside. On this tool, we overlap. The heel of the previous gets overlapped with the heel of the next impression. So right here, it overlaps. And then we go all the way around, always overlapping the next heel into the previous one. And then I always put the heel in first, and then I rotate the tool till I get that circle right onto the line beneath it. And then we'll go right around. And again, we'll stop just a few impressions short of completing the circle to see how we line up there. Okay, now I'm just going to see. Gentle little impressions just to see where it would end up. And it's pretty much perfect, so I can keep going. This tool is fairly easy to compensate. You can overlap it a little bit more, or you can stretch it a little bit. This one worked out perfectly. So that's the design. Circular design using a basket weave tool. And you should let your coaster dry now, and then because it's a coaster, you can either stain it and then put a finish on it, or you can just put a finish on it the way it is now. You can use, if you don't have any leather finish, you can use something that is used on leather, like mink oil, or you can even pick up something like this at your local tack store. Pick 4 it's called, leather treatment. You definitely want to treat this leather, the coaster, because it'll probably have some spills on it like coffee or anything else, but it'll soak into the leather and stain it just like the water soaked into it if we don't put a sealer on it. So put a sealer on it and you'll have a great coaster. All right, thanks for joining. Have a great day.